This is yours.
Okay.
No, I think that's so.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Ancrum Town Board meeting, July 16th, 2026. I'd like to call the meeting to order with a pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Before we step into the agenda, I just want to check with my other board members. Is there anything listed on the agenda that any town board members feel the need to recuse themselves from discussing? Hearing nothing, we will move on. Thank you, Monica, for preparing the minutes and submitting them to us. I'd entertain a motion to approve the previous month's meeting minutes.
I'm
Okay. I'll second. All right, all in favor?
I'm
Awesome. Thank you very much. They were great. Okay, before we continue on, is there any members of the public that would like to make any comments? Okay, we'll keep on moving. Supervisors report. At the Board of Supervisors meeting, we approved 3 new members to the Climate Action Plan Committee, which is a committee formed at the county level. The second item that we all discussed was our work with Granicus. And I don't know if you remember, but last year the county contracted with a company called Granicus to help determine the number and location of STRs which are short-term rentals in the county, and to determine how many there were, were there ones that the towns didn't know about that needed permits, and to be collecting occupancy tax for those. And so to date, they have collected approximately $272,000. And that is at the county level. And each month I receive and submit a list to Ed, which lists out who has a short-term rental in Granicus' system, and then he can cross-check and make sure that he has the right number of STRs here listed. And they're very close to having a distribution policy, similar to like sales tax is distributed within the county by population. And also they're going to take into account how many STRs each municipality or village has. So that's to be determined, but we were kind of all on the treasurer saying, hey, when are you guys going to start distributing those funds to the towns? Because, we paid for Granicus to do this, and we should start receiving those funds back. As far as our financials, our sales tax revenues for the month in the county level are $1.2 million higher than a year ago. So sales tax is up, and our accounts receivable is up as well. So these are good things because sales tax is distributed back to the towns through the county. So when sales tax goes up, that makes us happy. As far as county government, we had a very interesting meeting, and they've been discussing increasing the senior and low-income disabled income limit for property taxes. And they've started to and have basically a resolution that they're going to put before the board to increase it from 35,000 as the lower limit to actually they're looking at 45,000 pending approval, which is kind of a game changer because they were finding that because the limit, the lower income limit was changed last in 2023, and things have changed since then, that some people were falling off that shouldn't be, that would that should qualify for that type of exemption on their property taxes. So it should help our seniors quite a bit. Yeah, I think it will be a really positive thing to do. And so that what happens is that has to be passed at the county level. It becomes a county law. Now, we in Ankrum can also do that as well because we're a taxing entity. So we could either follow suit with the county, which we did last time, or the maximum amount that we could offer is 50,000 as the lower income limit. But that would be something that the town board would pass as a resolution in a local law. And they're looking for this to go into effect for the 2027 tax year. So,
Can I ask a question?
yeah.
It says that there's a $50,000 limit from the state that we could go to.
Yes.
We decided to make our setbacks larger than the state. We can't make that larger than the state.
No, not to
Okay.
my knowledge. That
So we can make
Yeah.
our zoning tougher, but we can't help. the
What I
people that
can,
more.
but what I can tell you, David, on good news, in 2028, the state lower level is expected to go to 75,000. So the state is also going to be increasing that as well. So,
Okay.
and I do know that actually the town of Taconic is at 50,000 for their limit. So,
I don't see why we shouldn't hit the state limit.
yeah, I agree. Public safety, we had a very busy month this last month, as Jen and Dave and many of you know, we've had a ton of hot weather, tons of storms, a lot of storm damage. So emergency management at the county was straight out for a good 2 weeks, having to deal with storm damage both in the upper part of the county in Chatham and then down here, storm damage. And they also had some incidents out in Hudson and Philmont area where they were having to go ahead and do a lot of coordination. EMS work group is continuing on. There is rumor that they are going to be changing the way that they bill the towns to make it more equitable. So that will be to be determined. Oh, okay. And the sheriff's office is getting new body cameras for their deputies. And Public Works, again, in conjunction with emergency management, they handle a lot of the roadways, the county roadways. Terry had talked to me before this meeting and had expressed that there was a lot of low-hanging branches on some of the county roads. So we talked with Tony, who is the director of the highway, and said, hey, can you start, doing that? And he said he knows of a lot of them and they will be working on that. So, so they are straight out and really busy, especially during the summer. And one of the other big projects the county has undertaken is the 11 Warren Street building. That is basically a building in the lower part of Hudson, of which they're moving the probation, Board of Elections, and conflict defender. They're all moving into that new building, which they have retrofitted to better serve the community, to make it a little bit safer for people that are using those services. And so probation conflict defender moved down there August 4th, and then the Board of Elections moves down the week after. And that's important to anyone that is going to do any early voting. And if you do it in Hudson, it will not be at 401 State Street this year. It'll be at 11 Warren. So it's just a different location. Yeah, definitely. We will make, and I know that the Board of Elections will be sending lots of information out too. So, and Solid Waste is going to have their community hazardous waste cleanup day on October 10th, and that's in Ghent. And they've contracted with MXI Environmental to do that for 2027 and 2028. And they are considering possibly moving it to a springtime event as well, because they've heard feedback that it'd be nice maybe to do like 1 year in the spring, 1 year in the fall, So they're working with the contractor to do that. And as far as our community, This month, I worked with the Affordable Housing Committee to send out a survey of housing needs for employers within the community. If you're an employer and you didn't get it, let me know, because I will personally resend it again if it didn't come to you. Also check your spam box. We're just trying to figure out just any experiences you've had as an employer with your employees looking for housing, or what you're seeing within your employees, because that information could be really helpful for us to figure out what needs are. And it's very quick. It should only take like 5 to 10 minutes to complete. Other than that, I think that's it for me. So, Jim, would you like to go next?
You insist. Our roadside mowing's been slowed down by tractor problems and lack of employees to put in it. One of my guys had an unfortunate incident where his daughter broke his leg, so he missed some days this week. And we had a big paving project we did this week. The July 4th storm brought down countless trees. At one point, we had 10 roads completely blocked in multiple locations and others that were partially blocked. All but 3 were clear that night, except for locations where entangled wires prevented the tree removal. All 3 were passable by 9 a.m. the next day. We have around $75,000 left in our CHIPS aid for the year from the state. Yesterday, we completed repaving Chase Road. Total cost came in around $35,000 for the materials. As we did in June, if we pay for this project before the filing deadline of August 10th, and I get the canceled check back, we can send in for the reimbursement and set for the September payment. Otherwise, we'll have to wait till December for that. So I gave Colleen a voucher and everything to get that paid. The $286,000 Pool Hill Road project was applied for in June. It should be here or come in tomorrow. State CHIPS aid. And we talked about earlier in the workshop, I've been asking for estimates for the replacement of the case loader. It's a 2011. And it's starting to get some bugaboos. The replacement of this machine was listed on the capital plan to be done this year, but with the truck that we took delivery of last year being delayed took 2.5 years for it to come in. I kind of pushed this back, but we still need to do it. And I got 2 prices from Caterpillar and John Deere, both under Sourcewell pricing. Caterpillar's, I think, is a better deal with more attachments and a little cheaper price and better financing options. So we're gonna have to figure out what we want to do there in the coming months. That's about all I have for now.
Okay, thanks, Jim. Does anyone have any questions for Jim while we're?
And this is the only loader we have for the sand and salt during the winter time that loads everything. Is that correct?
It's a critical piece of equipment in the winter.
Jim, how long will they hold those prices?
Well, they say they're good for 30 days, but Caterpillar understood that I told him we probably wouldn't do anything until next year. If then I had to, run it through you guys before I can do anything. So
Right.
I want to get it on your radar. Budget time.
Okay. Thank you.
You told us before about payments. Do they need a down payment? And if we were gonna make
Just the trade-in. Is it?
just the trade-in as the down payment?
Actually, I believe Caterpillar told me that we wouldn't have a payment until.
Well, that's what I meant. So if you traded in your current loader, we wouldn't have a payment till next year this time anyhow,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah, I believe so, yes.
Okay, we need that information when we're gonna think about it and do this year's budget.
I'll verify that.
Thank you.
All right, town clerk report.
This week I received petitions, which I certify for the library, who are asking for a 414 for the Rojan Library to be on the ballot in this next election. The 414, if it passes this time, will increase the town of Ancram's library line to $48,850. This is an $18,873 increase over the current amount that they collect through their line in the budget. I believe these are the same numbers that they put forth last year for the election. So just to put that on everybody's radar, that was submitted to me this past couple weeks. I have been swamped with FOIL requests, more so than ever. In just the last 2 weeks alone, I've received almost a dozen. A lot of these have to do with AI. I'm hearing from other town clerks as well that with the advancement of AI, a lot of companies are doing these broad searches for vouchers and payments and vendors and that sort of thing. And there'll be 6 or 8 different vendors on one FOIL request. It's getting extremely hard for me to keep up with them. Not in the filling of them, it's just each FOIL request needs to be sent to the department that the records are in. And then there's a time frame of 20 business days for them to be filled, or an answer has to be sent out. And when they're coming in on various days at various times, it's just getting really difficult to keep track of them. So there are FOIL computer software programs that town clerks have some to kind of keep track of it. And it would give me a little thing on the screen that would say, don't forget, you have this FOIL request and it's due in 3 days or what have you. So the stuff isn't falling through the cracks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reach out to Edmonds and see if they have something that piggybacks on my already town clerk program. And then if not, put something out to find out from other clerks what they use. It's just getting to be a hot mess, and I don't want things to fall through the cracks. And the way FOIL requests are, some of them are coming from lawyers, and I don't want lawsuits. And then lastly, I've paid out the remaining amount due for taxes to the treasurer for 2026. Once they cash that check, I will close out my books and the interest will be turned over to the town.
Okay.
And that's pretty much all I have.
Do you have any idea of the price of the software?
I don't. I kind of had this week, I kind of had a bit of a moment in my office when, the 10th one came in and, they're coming on letterhead for attorneys' offices and it's just, it's not something I want to play with.
I agree.
Well, that's right. I think that
Yeah,
I agree
I
with
think
you.
it's
The software is something we should be looking at.
Yeah.
And it's hard when, I have to, it's maybe documents I'm the records retention officer for the town, meaning that every piece of paper in this building falls under my domain except for the court. But I'm of such that I'm not going to go into the building department and go through their filing cabinets. I wouldn't want somebody to come in and do that to me. I'm not going to do that to them. So I'll reach out to say the building department and I will say to them, here's the FOIL request. This is what I need. And they have X amount of days to fill it. But then I have to remember to go back to them and say, remember, you got to hand me this. I got to have this stuff. That's where it's getting a little bit of a gray area, the follow up. And I don't want things to fall through the cracks.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a good idea. So if you can let us know, maybe by next month would be good. And then we can start to put that into our.
Yeah, if it's an add-on to my Edmonds, it's probably not going to be a huge amount. If I have to go to say like Williamson Law Book or another provider, right, there would maybe be a setup fee and that sort of stuff.
Okay.
To be continued.
Yeah, we'll look at the prices of that and figure out what works best for your computer.
And the other thing I wanted to ask, while it's my turn, have we gotten anything done with the escrow law?
We have not, but John Lyons, I know he's been a little swamped with everything else. So I'm thinking now might be a good time to poke him to get it done. Good. Because it's a law, so it has to go through that whole process, as you know. So yeah. Okay. Councilwoman Boyce.
Okay, so the pool is open. It looks very inviting. Everything seems to be going very well at this time. I was a little nervous in the beginning. We had 4 of our older lifeguards leaving, which left me with younger lifeguards. We hired a few other guards. We have 6. We have a WSI, and well, she's not certified as WSI, but she's taught swimming lessons and she was a swim coach, and she seems to be doing very well in the position of teaching the kids swim lessons. I feel really good about the swim lessons. I've been down there. I've been trying to watch what's going on. Johanna has been going down and keeping an eye on things, seeing if everything is working properly. So far, so good. About the camp, I was talking to Taylor. They're having a tough time deciding, should the kids be outside or should they stay inside? So we're trying to, like, in the morning, it wasn't too bad, but by late.
Based on air quality.
Right, it's the air quality that we're worried about. And so she's trying to make the best decision she can on what to do and what's the best decision to keep the kids inside, or is it okay to be out in the morning, but then maybe only call it a half a day? I don't know, but we're trying to make that decision. We'll be making another decision tomorrow morning on tomorrow's camp. As for the last thing, which is the CPR, the lady's been really busy with her program. She had a lot of dates taken up. We were really busy with everything going on. So I don't have dates, but I expect to have dates for CPR for the community. They'll probably be here, and I'm thinking either August or September, and even October we can do. So, but if anybody interested, it will be a sign up, and we can go from there. And it's going to be offset by the donation that we received, just so everybody knows. And I think that's it for me. Oh, the one thing I will tell you is because I had to put on another person to instruct on lessons, what I'm trying to do is change the hours a little bit of the pool. I noticed that nobody is really using the pool from 10 to 11. So I'm going to be opening the pool from 11 to 6. And then I'm using those 2 hours each, or the 2 hours of lifeguard pay, to actually offset the cost of the extra WSI instruction. And I hope to make a few more adjustments at the end of the year, because I'm really trying to stay like under budget right now. So, but that's what's happening, and we're trying to maneuver things around just the best we can. Somebody mentioned to me that pool hours weren't on the website, which we have to work on putting that on there. And I think that's it.
Thank you. Councilwoman Gold.
I have a brief update on the project, the internet project that we're working on. You haven't heard from me about that on this topic for a month or two. Things are moving along a bit slower than we had hoped. But I'd like to give a big thank you to Islyn Connell, who's doing all of the back end work for us. Can you hear me? Can you hear me in the back? Okay. Islyn Connell, who's doing all the back end work, and the back end work is all of the stuff you'll never know took place. It's the coding, it's the branding guidelines, it's the design template, it's the page mitigation, page migration, and the departmental input. So that when you see the website, when it's launched, all of this will be in place for you, and you will have no idea how much work took place behind it. We are a little slowed down. Islyn is pregnant, and she's due in September, but she had a tough time the first couple of months, so she wasn't able to work on the project as much as she had hoped. But we are back on track now, and I'll have further updates for you in the months to come. I also want to thank B Doctor, who has offered to allow us to use her photographs on the website. So we have not only the brand guidelines, but we'll have artistic input as well. I think that's all I can tell you at this point about it. I don't have my computer with me, so I can't share what the template looks like, but perhaps at the next meeting I will. Any questions on that?
No? Okay. Thank you, Amy.
Okay.
Councilman Boyce.
I've had a large number of our taxpayers talking to me this month about a variety of things. A lot of people were concerned about everything that we talked about last month, about the fact that there could be a property tax increase after we increase our assessed valuations. One thing that I talked about in the workshop, and I would like to express again, we were given information by our budget director about how much our taxes had been lowered, or how much our tax decrease had been in the last 16 years. It was 224,000, I don't know, point something, 224,000.3. I asked if we were aware that our sales taxes since 2010 had increased by 223,000, which kind of validates that number. I talked about whether we had looked into, we weren't given very much information. We were just told we had to go ahead with this, which kind of sounds like when we were told we had to go ahead with the reval or the trending. I'd like more numbers. I know what our building permits have gone up in the last 16 years. I know what our CHIPS money has gone up in the last 16 years. And I know what our mortgage taxes have gone up in the last 16 years. Mortgage taxes have come down a bit recently because more people are paying cash for everything because they seem to have a little more money in their pocket. But we need to talk more about revenue, and we need to talk a whole lot about what our expenditures are, because I believe we can cut things. Every time we get something, we're told, oh, well, we could cut the pool in the camp. Well, cutting the pool in the camp, that was already here in 2010. I want to hear what came after 2010. There are a lot of things that I believe we could cut. So I think we need a lot more information before we start talking budget and really working along and talking about a tax increase. I would like to find out from Melvin if it's possible to play portions, or if we can go online and see portions of previous meetings. If you can put those up on the screen and show us portions of a meeting from the past. If they're on the website, you can get them, can't you?
Yeah.
Okay, that's one thing I wanted to know. Also, I have a bunch of different things. One thing that I would like to talk about, we talked about a bunch of different things as a town board last month. I expected, to have a few things printed out, and I couldn't get things to print out quite like I wanted to. And quite honestly, it was pretty amazing that Monica talked about AI, but I've had a bunch of people pushing me about different things, and I'm not a big fan of AI, but I asked my phone a few questions and got some answers. And one of the first questions that I asked my phone: is it ever proper for a town board member to use ethnic slurs, racial slurs, or obscenities in a meeting, even if they are not directed at anyone? And the answer that I got: it is never proper for a town board member to use racial or ethnic slurs or obscenities during an official meeting, regardless of whether they are directed at anyone. Elected officials are held to strict standards of decorum and ethical conduct. The Code of Conduct, nearly all municipal governance structures mandate that officials maintain civility, professionalism, and respect. The use of derogatory, abusive, or vulgar language fundamentally violates these ethics codes. And rules of order, under standard procedures like Robert's Rules of Order, personal insults, obscenity, and inflammatory language are universally prohibited. Hang on, one more. And it says using slurs or obscenities can be grounds for formal complaints, ethics investigations, censure, or even removal from office. Since town board meetings are workplaces for municipal staff and public forums for residents, such language can expose the municipality to liability for creating a hostile or discriminatory environment. A double standard in free speech. And it goes on to talk about how, while the U.S. Supreme Court has ruled that members of the public cannot always be barred from saying things, it's not allowed in public. And I think this is something that's been hanging over us for a while. We've talked about it. I talked earlier to our supervisor about people taking their workplace violence and sexual harassment training. And any of you guys, I know there's a bunch of people out here that have taken it with the fire company, know that it is stated in the training that even if someone overhears you and you're talking to somebody else and it's not directed at them, it is an offense. And to me, anybody who says that is obviously not taking their training. I asked, is it acceptable for town board members to not take the sexual harassment and workplace violence training that is required of them? And it goes on with the same thing. It is not generally acceptable and often illegal for town board members to skip required sexual harassment and workplace violence training. Because town board members act as employers and represent the municipality, skipping mandatory training exposes the town to severe liability, ethics violations, and legal penalties. In jurisdictions like New York and California, state laws expressly require all elected officials and local agency officers to complete mandatory interactive training annually or biannually. Board members are responsible for setting workplace policy and handling complaints. Refusing to participate undermines the town's anti-harassment policies and significantly increases the financial damages the town could face in a lawsuit. Members who refuse, oh, come on now. Members who refuse to complete required training may face disciplinary action, loss of committee assignments, public censure, or removal from office, depending on the town's bylaws and state regulations. Well, it already said that New York State says it's mandatory. So I would like to propose a resolution for the town that if we have any member who does not take their training, their workplace violence or sexual harassment training for a 3-year period, that they are not eligible for town. If there's any lawsuits that are served against them or the town or them personally, they are not going to get our town council. They're going to have to pay for their own counsel in such a situation. I understand that somebody may have a problem 1 year. I even could have a problem 2 years. But if you miss it 3 years in a row, there's no reason. You got to do something to get it in place. Because we have people who have not taken it for the whole time they've been in office. And that's got to stop. It's not something that we can go on with. I got a few other things. I researched a bunch of stuff. And I've had a bunch of people talking to me about different things, but I'm going to let some of that go because I don't want to go on too long tonight. One thing I did have, I've had a bunch of people talking to me. We've had a lot of heavy rain in the last month and a half. Anyone who is around the pavilion in town, when there's puddles on the concrete, and this is something we need to make our camp aware of, it gets extremely slippery. We need to do something with the surface. It's quite honestly, it wasn't put in properly, and it's got puddles in the center of it when you get heavy rain, and they're there for 2-3 days. Other than that, I'll go on for the night.
Thank you, David. As far as the resolution, do you want us to draft it up and have it ready for next meeting? Is that how,
Sure.
just the language of it? run it
Yes,
by you?
I think
Okay.
I would appreciate that.
Okay. And actually, while we're on the sexual harassment training bus, we'll call it, I actually contracted with the county and got the recording for us. so that we can have training here in-house. We'll just use the big screen and I will schedule a bunch of dates and be here to actually just do the training here for people that need it, which if you're on a board, a committee, you need to take the sexual harassment and workplace violence training. So I will make it as easy as possible. And if there are extenuating circumstances and you can't do it, I can probably share it to you as a link. But I'll give you plenty of opportunities and choice of dates to do it. So
I think we should keep those records and make it public that, so people can see who's taking the training or not.
I agree.
I mean, every one of the people in the fire company knows about it because we all take it the exact same day and make sure that everybody does, but.
So I think a good policy would be to have like an attestation form, just says I so-and-so took this on this date, and then just keep it on file. That's kind of how I've handled it in the past. So I agree. Then we have a good record of who's taken what and we know where we stand. So. Okay, before we go on, I'd like to open it up to public comments, questions. Terry, come on up and please come up and speak to the microphone just so everyone can hear. And we're trying to do 2 minutes. It's just for the people online. Yeah.
What happens if they don't make the training in the 3rd year?
Would have to remove them.
Pardon?
Remove them from a board or a
They
committee.
get removed.
I think so. I think that would be the,
Is
The-
it law?
I don't know that we have a law, but we
Well-
could have a law.
Well,
Yeah,
without a law,
yeah,
then they're not breaking the law
Right.
if they don't pay.
right.
So which is it?
So if we could go to the state law, we could defer to the state law and say it has to be done mandated every year. And if it's not, then you can't do that. But we were just talking about doing it, giving, every 3 years, or, that you can't miss it at 3 years in a row.
Well, David
So then-
mentioned that there's people that haven't taken it many times. So what's going on with that?
It's not in effect yet, so it would be hard
Actually,
to,
if you read it, it
But
says
if-
that it is in effect for New York
if
State.
it's New York State, it would be every year.
Well, we
yeah.
live in New York State,
So, yeah,
just
yeah,
to make things clear.
right, right.
So I still don't have an answer. Is the person removed? Is it a law yet?
It's a law at the state level.
So you're
So-
gonna adopt that law here in Akron?
We could, but we then would have to give people at least until the rest of the end of the year to get their training,
Yeah.
I would think.
That was my
But-
question. Thank you.
Yeah. Do you have someone online? Oh, you have a question?
So just to your point, David, about sharing meeting videos within the town board meetings. So as goes for any media that anyone would like to show during these meetings, as long as the technology committee, which is myself and a couple other members, is given prior notice, we can make things happen. We can show them on the screen and things like that. We just have to have enough notice to set it up and make it visible. With specific regards to town meetings, generally those are posted on the website within a week to 2 weeks after the meeting, depending on the length and the requirements that we have to go through to put them on there. So as long as that period of time has passed since the meeting, we can make that happen. Meetings are always posted before their next month's meeting as well, just as a general rule of thumb. But if you do want like a meeting shown next week, at the next month's board meeting, just reach out to us. We can get the exact times ready or the clips ready for you ahead of time, and we can show them when you're ready.
How about if we asked you for one from over a year ago?
They are on the website and accessible,
Okay,
to the best of my understanding.
Thank you, Melvin. Come on up.
David, this one is for you. You're always a good financial observer. I always listen to you. You did say that you wanted to know what budget items were put in place after 2010. Did I understand you correctly?
well, what I said is, last month, our budget director came in and said, in the last 16 years, you guys have reduced taxes by 224,000. It's put us in a bad spot. Now you've got to increase taxes by 9%. And I said, we need more information. I want to know about all the other revenues that come in, and I want to know about the expenditures. You don't make a personal decision on one thing. You find out all the information and then go from there. And I said, I want more information. And I have it. I mean, I can find it. And quite honestly, that's why I came in tonight and said what the other revenues are. And I know what most of the other expenditures are. But I'd like somebody.
That's what I want to
Yeah,
know.
well, I know them already, but somebody else should tell me. That's the budget director's job to explain. You should explain it to us.
Work together.
Yes, we can. I said next month. I've got them. I'll give them out next month.
Okay.
But there's no you can't give up everything the first day out.
But to think a bit about it.
Okay. We don't start the budget process till August.
Come on up, Steve.
Yeah, so David, like what Carol just said, it's great that people are asking questions. I also think it's important to be factually correct, and you were not. I did not say that you have to take a 9% tax increase. That is factually incorrect. What I gave to the board was a unanimous recommendation from the fact that included some options to consider, like cutting payroll, cutting insurance coverage, which of course you can't do for the highway department. So I would just ask that when you're going to speak like that, and clearly you're a little upset about it, which is fine, but
I'm not the only one that's upset about it.
But
and you
need-
did say 9%.
Excuse me, I'm talking. That is incredibly rude what you're doing right now, right?
Yeah.
That is not
let him
respectful
speak.
behavior.
Yeah. Let him speak.
So we absolutely, as a fact, will go back and supply the information that the board is looking for. We are there to provide advice and counsel to the board. We have no authority to make decisions. So whatever it is, additional information you want, make it clear to us, and we're happy to deliver it. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
May I reply, please?
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, what I said and what came out last month is that you said that you actually said we should actually put it up 16%, but you were only recommending 9%. So let's go there to start with. And I said, I want more information to make that decision. I don't think that's an improper request from a town board member when that's our budget director telling us this. You actually came into board meetings last year and told us we should up the pay for our supervisor and all of our town board members, and because that's what the accountant recommended to you. And you also recommended that we have a budget item for the pavilion, a line item of $31,000 to do some electric in it. So imagine where we'd be if Jim MacArthur and I didn't have problems with those numbers last year. Also, at your recommendation, the town board has hired an accountant that now charges us double what the old accountant did, and he doesn't even do payroll. So we're in farther there. Maybe we should have changed budget directors, which doesn't cost us a thing. That's my opinion. And I hope that wasn't too disrespectful.
Okay, I'm gonna keep going. Yeah. Hi.
First off, I want to thank the Ankrum Fire Department for responding to my house, where we had the third fire of the year. My garage went on fire in May, and I want to thank you all for coming, because I think my house probably would have went with the garage, but thank you so much. The pavilion, was it his idea to do the pavilion and give the money from the general fund?
When you say
When
do
the
like,
pavilion was,
construct it?
constructed.
I think it was Ed.
Who
If I'm not
decided?
mistaken, it was from the Hamlet Committee. The board did, but
We never voted on it.
We never voted on it. Correct? Okay.
We did-
And where do we stand with the pavilion on making revenue for the town?
we are working with DASNY to get funds to the town for reimbursement funds for the
So the
pavilion.
grant never
So,
came, correct?
Not yet.
Yet?
We're
What year
still
was the
in the
pavilion
process-
put in?
Last year.
No, it was the year before, wasn't it? It was last year?
Last year.
Okay, time flies.
Yeah.
So we haven't rented it out?
We have,
We have?
yes, we've had a few parties there, small parties.
Can we have that public on what it's making?
Sure. But it wasn't, yeah.
I was told by Ms. Hunt that it was a revenue maker for the town. That it
No,
was gonna
it's-
offset costs. She did say that.
No.
Okay. Am I the only one? We did hear that, right?
Yeah.
That was gonna be a revenue offset?
No, I think if you go back to.
It was gonna be $150 a party.
But
It
we.
was gonna help bring it was.
Never, it was not.
This is why we have to go back to the videotapes, because it was.
Purpose of it.
Anyhow,
being a Revenue maker.
I've also asked, because that was what, 150,000 or 170,000? How much was that pavilion? It was up there.
The pavilion itself was 99,000. The pour for the concrete was
was a lot.
29,000.
Okay. I've also asked,
Say 17,000. That was the letter you read last August.
No, I'm adding the input.
Yeah, I
I'm
know.
just giving those.
We need to go back to the videotape.
we do.
Yeah.
Because that's exactly what she said. And along with whoever else from the committee approved the pavilion. And obviously it's not working out. I think other things could have happened, and the poor guy that lives next to it is the one who lost big time. But anyhow, I live on Woods Court, and I've asked for the cul-de-sac to be paved numerous times. I know there's other cul-de-sacs that have been paved, and they have a nice, thing to turn around in, but down there it puddles. It doesn't get plowed very well, and it needs to be finished. When you're gonna pave a road, why not finish to the end? It seems it stopped right after my mailbox, so I'd like to know why.
That would be a question for Mr. Miller. He has to schedule the
All right,
paving
but
stuff.
I know, I'm not,
Yeah.
it just says it's not in the budget. So can we put that in the budget? Maybe we could sell the pavilion?
Well, not all stay for 5 years yet.
Okay,
Okay.
so we'll be done? It's 5 years now. Okay, thank you.
All right, I guess we'll move on to summer senior care event updates.
Take that.
Okay.
This is another example of life getting in the way. The senior and caregivers event that we had hoped to put on this summer is now being moved to September, hopefully September. It's a scheduling issue with some of the agencies that we asked to participate. And it's a scheduling issue for some of the members of the committee who are planning it. So we're moving it to September, and the exact date to be advised.
Thank you, Amy. David, do you have any updates on the locks and phone system? Well, not really phone system, mostly the locks for the town hall. I know you've been really busy, so
We
I
have
get
to
it.
decide what we're gonna do with the doors with these places first,
Okay.
before they're willing to give us a price.
Situation anyway with the front door. It's locked. If you come here and you can't get in the front door, it's because I'm not unlocking it, because I finally got it shut.
Okay, so is the strike plate not hitting?
I'm getting calls from people who are in here in their offices and just working just to do paperwork, and they're not open to the public. And there's people just randomly walking around the inside of the building, and we couldn't figure out how they were getting in. The latch thing on the top isn't working correctly. Now, whether the door has swollen, the door has done something, it's just not catching. So I finally slammed it with all my might the other day, and I got it to shut. I am not opening it again until we get it fixed.
So just put up a sign and just
Yeah.
say use the side, the side door.
So we're not locking you out, but I'm locking you out.
But it's a
We're
push
not,
for-
she is.
so, yeah, I mean, you can get out of the building if needed, but Yeah, you just can't.
I don't want it to continue to be unlocked and nobody here type of deal. You know, that's just asking for trouble.
I might have somebody that can look into that.
All right. Okay, on following the recommendation of the building inspector, who is quite busy he's backed up at least, he said, 2 or 3 plans. He has been asking for at least 2 years, I think, Steve, for a deputy building inspector. And he finally found someone that he felt could potentially fill that role. Councilwoman Boyce and I met with the building inspector and the potential deputy on Tuesday. And we were able to interview him a little bit to find out, what his qualifications were, why he wanted to do the job. He's local. He lives right around here. He has 12 plus years in construction, which includes gas construction, so like propane, gas, and also in electrical and plumbing. So he has some experience with construction and has worked for a couple of different gas, propane, oil companies. So, and Ed has been working with him for about a week or so, just kind of getting a feel of whether he is a good fit for the department. And he found him favorable. So I don't know if you have any other things you'd like to add to that.
Why would you want to do that job?
I know. He's actually gone out on a few inspections to see, interacting with people and reviewing plans with Ed. So
He's answering the phone, he's trying
Yeah.
to do certain things.
so
Has our building inspector cut his hours recently? Did he not stop working on Saturdays?
he did stop working on Saturdays, but to my knowledge, he has not done any changes in his hours since at least January 1st.
But he's still getting the money we agreed on last year when he was working more hours.
I have not changed his salary, so correct.
So he cut his hours, but he's still getting paid the same. That's pretty cool.
Doing more inspections.
I gotta do that.
I'm not sure. He said he does do some inspections that are not in the office, like, he's not in the office, he's on inspections. So,
I understand, but he used to spend X number of hours here every week and he doesn't even do that. Okay, just asking.
okay. So in order to actually have Justin on our payroll, we have to approve him as a deputy building inspector. And we should do that via resolution. Do you want to do it now or do you want to do it at the end? Okay.
Do we have money in the budget for a deputy building inspector?
We have talked, Steve and I have talked about this. We feel that we can make this work. He is aware of it being probably only like 10 hours a week that we can do with it. So,
This is also, just so everybody knows, this is, he has to get his training, which is gonna be contingent on obviously the employment. He also has to, he has a 6-month probation period where we can evaluate and see if he will fit into this situation or if he'll fit this position or not.
correct. Yeah. Okay. Would you like me to read it or do you want to read it? Okay. I'll read it. Okay, resolution appointing deputy building inspector, code enforcement officer. Whereas pursuant to New York State Town Law 138, the town board of the town of Ankrum is authorized to appoint a deputy building inspector to assist the building inspector in the performance of his or her duties. And whereas there is a current vacancy in the office of building inspector or a need for additional deputy code enforcement services within the town, And whereas Justin Myers has the background and experience related to building construction, fire prevention, and code enforcement to serve in this capacity. And whereas the proposed appointee has met or is in the process of completing the basic training and certification requirements prescribed by New York State Department of State for code enforcement personnel. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Ancrum hereby appoints Justin Myers to the position of deputy building inspector effective July 1st, 2026, to serve at the pleasure of the board. And be it further resolved that in accordance with New York State regulations, the newly appointed deputy building inspector shall obtain and maintain all state mandated training and certifications required to perform the duties of the office. Do a roll call.
We have a motion in a second. No.
For the resolution?
Do we need a motion to approve that resolution as read?
I make a motion?
I need a second. Yes.
Councilwoman Boyce.
Yes.
Councilman Boyce.
No,
Councilwoman Ball. Yes. Supervisor.
Yes.
I'm sure Justin is a good guy. I know Justin. I mean, he'll make a good one, but if we don't have it in the budget and we're talking about our budget's gotta go up and we're gonna kill it, what are we doing?
How much is the salary? And training.
Shall I go?
Yeah. good.
Okay. We have discussed that and looked at various municipalities in the area. And given that he does need training, we are going on the lower side of a salary for that. And to start, it would be $23 an hour. And then a raise like 50 cents or so once he actually completes the training. And then at 6 months, we would discuss it from there, depending on his performance and if he's working with Ed and doing well. So the training is, it's all online, and he is getting prices for us so that we can make that purchase.
We're gonna put it, pay back to the working much.
We could, but I think we haven't discussed it. It's not something that we've discussed. So, but we can go from there. Okay. Now, gotta move to the next page.
You're doing good.
Yeah. Okay, so the budget, the budget officer and I met with a few of the people that responded to the request for members for the FAC, the Financial Advisory Committee, which we had talked about a couple of months ago. It was advertised and we received some great candidates. And based on our interview and I've circulated all of the information about each of the potential appointees. We'd like to make a recommendation to the board to appoint Michael Solomon and Jan Katz. Do you want to add anything to that? They were very well qualified, had very strong financial backgrounds and management backgrounds. And so we thought that they would be a really good asset to the team and to work with the town board. So I also have a resolution for that. You want to read it? This one? All right.
Whereas pursuant to the New York State Town Law, Section 63, the town board is authorized to appoint members to the Financial Advisory Council. And whereas 2 vacancies exist on the Financial Advisory Council, and Whereas the town board and the Financial Advisory Council has reviewed the qualifications and interviewed Michael Solomon and Jan Katz and find them well suited to serve the community in this capacity. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Ancrum hereby appoints Michael Solomon and Jan Katz as member of the town of Ancrum Financial Advisory Council.
Excuse me, isn't it our policy that 2 town board members need to be in on the interview?
I did open it up. I know Amy had a conflict, but if you want to hold, if we can,
I just asked if there was, I thought we had was a requirement to be 2.
I don't think it's a requirement. I prefer it to have 2.
I think
Because
in the
it's-
past we've talked it's 2, but that's okay.
Yeah.
It is mandatory 1. I prefer to have 2 just because it's an extra set of ears. And if I don't think of something, it's always helpful to have 2 people.
Okay.
So,
But we need a
Okay.
motion to read
yes, so we need a motion to
Make a
accept
motion
that.
to accept that.
And I need a second.
I'll second.
Okay. Jen seconded, and we can do a roll call vote for that, just to make it official. There you go.
Councilwoman Hall. Yes. Councilwoman Boyce.
Yes.
Supervisor Love.
Yes.
Councilman Woods.
No.
All right, so I also have another line for budget discussion. Is there any other things that you can think of other than what we've discussed of what you need for us to start moving on? Definitely expenses, incomes, to really focus on those budget lines. And we'll look at it over time just to see, what's happening. So, all right. And of course, you can always ask me at any time, I need this or I need that. It's totally fine, and I'll get it for you. I know that Dave, you did mention about our accountant. We have an excellent accountant who really is responsive. So if there's any analysis that you need or that Steve or I can't provide you, Bob is very good at doing that. So and trying to give us the information that we need to make the best decision. So if something comes up and you need it, just let me know.
No, this should be fine.
Yeah.
You might want to let people know about Justin and the training, but it doesn't.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so Melvin, quick with his fingers, checked about the training, and according to what he could see, the training does not cost anything to the town. So, yeah. Oh, he's listening. Good. Okay. So, yeah, because I know he was researching when he could get there and, the time commitment that it would take for him to do the training. So, and I do know he already has some training as well. We did mention that. So, but not specifically code enforcement officer training. Okay. So, on to new business. I have a letter that I need to read into the record of the minutes. Monica, you have a copy of the letter, just so you have this. This letter is to James Miller, Highway Superintendent, Town of Ancrum, July 16th. 2026. It's a official letter of censure. Dear James, this letter serves as an official letter of censure issued by the Ancrum Town Board regarding your conduct on June 4th, 2026, prior to the Ancrum Planning Board meeting. Summary of infraction. On June 4th, 2026, it was determined that after investigation by the town supervisor that you engaged in anti-Semitic hate speech prior to the planning board meeting held at 1416 County Route 7, Ancrum, New York. While this incident took place after hours and while you were not performing your duties as the highway superintendent, You are an elected official and it did occur on town property. You indicated to a member of the public that he was an expletive old Jew, unquote. This action directly violates the Town of Ancrum Code of Conduct, Section 904, and the Town of Ancrum Employee Handbook. Impact of actions. Your conduct failed to meet the standards expected of your position and undermined the integrity of the Town of Ancrum. As a highway superintendent and employee of the town, you are expected to uphold the highest level of professional and ethical conduct. Your actions do not align with these expectations. Disciplinary action and warning. By this letter, you are hereby officially censured for your actions. A copy of this letter will be placed in your official personnel file. Further, the town board recommends that you submit a letter of apology to the individual that experienced the hateful speech. You have the right to submit a written response or rebuttal within 10 business days of receiving this letter. Any submitted response will be kept on file alongside this letter. Sincerely, myself.
I've got a statement I'd like to read regarding that.
Yes, please.
Number one, I was there as a private citizen that night, not in any way of my official capacity. And I'd like to take this opportunity to apologize for that incident. It occurred before the June 4th planning board meeting. On my way inside, I encountered a neighbor that was one of the more vocal opponents for the solar project that was proposed on a portion of land myself and my wife own. I said a couple inappropriate things that I regret. Words that grew out of frustration with the ridiculous amount of time and red tape encountered during the planning board permitting process that should have been an easy approval, but instead drug on for more than a year and a half with no end in sight. This project was fully compliant with the town zoning regulations regarding community scale solar projects, and yet it was held up for more than a year and a half by never-ending public hearings with the same people saying the same things over and over. This along with ridiculous and out of control escrow fees for lawyers and consultants that was approaching $20,000 with more to follow. The solar company finally threw in the towel to cut their losses on a project that should have been easily approved. I'd hoped this project would enable me to comfortably retire and realize a little extra income from my land and preserve it for my family, while 90% of it and leaving 90% of it in agricultural production, with the solar field returning to ag after the solar lease ended. What the future holds now is uncertain. I'm seriously considering selling it to the highest bidder, who may elect to put 25 houses or more up on that hill, something I was hoping to avoid. If I sound bitter, it's because I am. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Okay, before we close, I'd like to open it up to public comments one more time.
How many hours?
So he's, yeah, probably be better just so that everyone can hear you. Thank you, Terry. Thank you, Terry.
Yes, I was just curious, how many hours roughly a week or a month does Ed put in?
So he puts in every week. He is here on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and he arrives generally around 9 o'clock and is done by about 2. But he also on either side of those days will go out for inspections.
How many inspections
So-
does he do?
I can
Because
tell
I
you.
know there's quite a few that,
Sure, it's right here. I can tell you exactly what you did for the month. That might help give you an idea. I do. Okay, for June, he did a total of 34 inspections.
okay,
You
I
need to-
have them by type too, so I
You
think,
need to know a
No.
lot of inspections. He asks for pictures to be sent to him. He doesn't go to the site.
He did, you know, he was talking with that to you and I and Justin as well. Sometimes he does, if it's like on a weekend or if he doesn't think he's going to get to it in a timely manner and they've got to move on, he will accept photos. He prefers to do in person just because he might see other things or
But
whatever.
technically, if you take a photo, I
Right.
could photo anybody's place. But here's what I want to show you.
Right,
That's not right.
right.
And that will actually turn around and the town will get bit in the butt for it.
Yeah,
Because if something happens and it's never been inspected and he gets a CO on a job
right.
and it catches fire, then the town will have a problem. But what I'm looking at is he gets $43,000 a year
Mhm.
for his time he's putting in. Now, I figured out some of the hours myself a little bit, and he's better than $80 an hour. So if you want to hire a helper for him, it should come right out of his paycheck if he's not doing it all. Thank you.
Thank you, Rick. Oh, he has mileage. That's quite that we were looking for the mileage. Yeah, because that would give us an idea of how many inspections he drove to. Yeah. Okay, does anyone else have anything?
Melvin, no, okay.
Just kind of an administrative question.
Yes,
Could we have put up on the website the hours that the town hall is open? Because there have been times I needed to come in to pick up something in the conference room. I don't know if it's open.
okay.
Carol, just
Yeah.
for your information, it's usually open at least bare minimum Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 10 to 2. Usually on Saturdays, either Colleen or myself is here. But Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, there's going to be an office here that's open.
And if it has to be outside of that time, you can always call me. I don't mind running up here and getting it for you. It's not a big deal. I do it for anybody. So, you know. We have not. We did the resolutions, yes. We do need to pay the bills. We do not need to enter into executive session as I have no additional information this time. But I do need a motion and second to approve the warrant and pay the bills. Okay. Jen was first, Amy was second. And then I need a motion and a second to adjourn.
Before,
Oh, yep.
Melvin, I would like to have the March 2024 town board meeting between the minutes of 22 minutes and 25 minutes at the next town board meeting available.
Thank you for letting me know.
Thank you, Dave. Do I have a second to adjourn? Yeah. Okay. Amy did the first. Okay, all in favor? All righty. Thank you, everyone, for attending.